are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. It's Friday, July 29th, right at the end of the month here, and we have another episode of The Issue to get to you. So not going to be the normal episode today. We're just going to have just the AFC North prediction. So we're going to predict the records just like we've been doing for the rest of the divisions, and we are going to have the AFC superlative. So the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Breakout Player, and the Coach of the Year from the AFC North. We're going to get all that done today, just get you what you need. We are getting closer to the NFL season. We are, under a month, obviously.
Wait, no, don't we still have 4 more divisions, so we're a little over a month? Is that right?
Technically, when the preseason starts, we will be...
it's under a month till
NFL football.
Yes,
but
so
the actual start of the season, September, I think, 8th.
Yeah, so we're a little bit over a month out.
Yeah, getting close.
Oh, it
getting
feels
real
great.
close.
It feels great.
And we got the AFC North today, so, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we get a little bit of the hometown. Obviously, we're going to be very realistic. Look, this show is not biased by any means. When the Pirates are bad, we're the first ones to say it. When the Steelers are we feel underachieve a little bit, we're going to be the first ones to say it. We're not going to sit here just because this podcast is based in Pittsburgh and say, you know what, the Steelers are going to go 11-6, because they're not. And you'll see that in our predictions here coming up. So let's just jump right into it. The AFC North predictions. Let's go.
We're number 4. We got the Cleveland Browns. So we're assuming that Deshaun's out for a year. So we have him about 6-11, right? Assuming he's out for an extended, let's go an extended period of time, right?
Yeah.
We think could be a year, could be 8 games, who knows? They lost a lot of top weapons, though. They lost good offensive line pieces. Their schedule's not necessarily a walk in the park. I like Jacoby Brissett as a backup quarterback. If I have to play him for 4 to 5 weeks, I feel good about it. If I have to play him for 8 to maybe a full season, I'm not sure that he's consistent enough to win at that level.
Yeah.
I think the roster could steal you about 5, 6 games. I'm not sure Brissett can win you much else on his own. That's not a knock on him. Like I said, he's a top probably 5 backup quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
But he's not a starting quarterback for an entire season. It just doesn't work. And with the amount of noise around Cleveland this offseason, we've seen it before. Just noise does not lead to success. It really doesn't.
No. It's the extra stuff that gets in the way. It starts the drama in the locker room. It starts the beef between 2 different players on the same team. And that's really when things start to go off the rails. We saw it in Cleveland with OBJ and Baker. There was already noise there, and it only escalated things. So
I agree. Okay, at number 3, let's go with the Steelers at 9-8. I know. All the Pittsburgh fans are a little upset.
I'm a little upset.
So here's what they got going for them. They got a great coach, a great defense, and pretty good weapons, right? I would say top 12 weapons.
Absolutely.
But the most important position in football is a total question mark for them.
Mitch or Kenny Pickett are both shots in the dark right now, I feel like.
And I think even the ceiling for Mitch Trubisky, I think Mitch's best season, say he goes 25 touchdowns, 7 picks, to QBR somewhere around 93-ish, roughly, completes about 66% of his throws, QBR 93, 94. Best case scenario, still lands him about the 16th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, just
14th to 16th,
middle of the pack.
And if Kenny Pickett as a rookie, Kenny's ceiling is what, 23 touchdowns, 11 picks, QBR of like 88.
Yeah,
right, completes about 62% of his throws. Right, if that's his ceiling, right, that puts him about almost the 18th best quarterback. Right, so either way, you're not good enough at quarterback to be able to advance higher in a division with the Bengals and the Ravens, who have better quarterbacks, point blank.
Absolutely. That's the point of emphasis on any team in the NFL. And if you're going to have a mid to bottom tier quarterback, it's just not going to land you very well. Now, I do think that this team and this roster has enough talent on it to kind of right the ship, and I think the defense is fantastic. So you don't really have to worry too much there. I would like to see a little improvement on the secondary. But other than that, you have a great pass rush. You're going to go get after a lot of guys and sack a lot of quarterbacks. I think that's going to be the thing that pulls them to 9-8. But it's going to be a hard-fought 9-8, nevertheless.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're good enough to get to about 500, which that doesn't exist anymore, but you get the point. All right, number 2, let's go with the Bengals. I think they take a slight step down. I think they barely pull out an 11-6, maybe even closer to a 10-7. So look what they have going for them. They have a great quarterback, great weapons, but they're still rebuilding that line, and the defense is pretty average. Word on the street is that they're probably going to let Jesse Bates, the safety, walk, which I actually kind of support, but at the end of the day, it's a little late to add another piece, so now that you're down one of your best pieces on your defense. Long term, I love not paying a safety. But for this season,
in the short run,
I don't love losing probably your best defensive player. And here's the thing: Joe Burrow's good, but can he continue to take a beating, stay in there, and continue delivering the football accurately, on time, all of it? Right? Can he keep playing superhero ball? I think he can, but it's not super sustainable. And I think this year, I think you're going to see an ebb and flow in his career. I think they're going to come down a little bit from the Super Bowl. But they're still going to be a very good team. Good weapons, good quarterback. I think Zach Taylor's a ascending head coach. We'll say that, right? I just don't expect them to go on this rampage and go 14-3 and get right back to the Super Bowl. No. I think they take a slight step down, but are still a super competitive, really good football team.
I 100% agree. And the thing is, we haven't seen evidence that last year isn't an anomaly for Cincinnati. As a franchise, as just a football team in general. You don't make it to the Super Bowl, generally, with a bottom tier offensive line. Really not much going for you on defense. Linebackers were really bad. So
defensive line's okay.
Defensive line was decent, but we haven't seen anything to prove to us that it's sustainable. We haven't seen them do it like the years previous and like building up. Let's not forget they were like 4-13 2 years ago. So I mean, or I guess 4-12. But
yeah, it would have been 4-12. Here's my thing: they've been to the playoffs before with Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton. Have we seen it last ever?
No. So that's what I'm saying. Exactly. We haven't seen that this isn't just an anomaly.
I think they could get back to the playoffs. 11-6 surely will get them back to the playoffs.
And I think they will. I think Joe Burrow's good enough. They will.
Right. I think they're probably a one and done team, and maybe they return back to Bengal form the following year. I just don't think it's super sustainable. I think they start to take a little bit of a step down. Mm-hmm. All right, number 1, I think the Ravens come out with a vengeance. I really do. I think they go 12-5. They have a good quarterback who's gotten better almost every year. This past year aside, where he was kind of banged up, and I think they're going to get healthy. I really do. I think they have a good coach. They had a great draft, good free agency. They're going to get healthy. Lamar's going to come back with a vengeance. I mean, we know he's a grinder in the offseason. He keeps getting better. He's gotten a little bit bulkier. I've seen on Instagram, Twitter, all that. At the end of the day, this is probably the best roster in the division.
Yes.
Defense is set, really well balanced. They have a good secondary. They can get to the quarterback. The weapons could be improved a little bit, but they still have a really good tight end. Their running backs are good. They go 3 good running backs deep plus Lamar. Their wide receivers are good, not special. I do like Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
I think they're a well-balanced team. Their offensive line's good, and obviously, like I said, a good coach. And I think Lamar comes out with a vengeance.
And I think they will get healthy. They've been injury-riddled for 2 years. It's been bad because they've had a top roster, and I think the best roster in the division now for 2 to 3 years. And we haven't seen it shine through whatsoever because their positions of need are always hurt. I don't know how they always catch that injury, just that bad stroke of luck right there, but they always seem to. Hopefully they can stay healthy. I'd like to see a full-strength Ravens team and what they can do and what Lamar is capable of doing now because he has been getting better.
Right. It's not like they lost a wide receiver, right, which they could cope with. They lost running backs on a running football team.
Yes.
They lost
on a very run-heavy team.
Their top 1 or 2 running backs. They lost Dobbins, and then I think they lost another guy. As a running football team. And then they lost Lamar.
Right, and then what does that do? It puts more weight on Lamar to have to run the football. He puts himself in more
harm's way,
more chances to get injured, running your body through, 11 dudes that are all 6'4" and 225 shredded and know how to hit hard.
It's not a good recipe.
No,
I'll tell you that.
It is not. That's not what you want your franchise quarterback running through. But speaking of a franchise quarterback, let's get into some superlatives here for the AFC North. MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, the breakout player, and the coach. Let's go.
So none other than Joe Burrow for MVP. I mean, what he was able to do to lead that team to the Super Bowl last year, I think what he showed was that he's more than just a skilled quarterback, right? He's got the leadership quality. He's got the it factor. And I think at the end of the day, he is the most valuable player.
Yes.
I said before, I don't think, although I love Lamar on the Ravens, I don't think they're super Lamar dependent. I think any other athletic quarterback, Tyler Huntley looked pretty decent in that system. He's a very similar quarterback. I think if you take Joe Burrow off of the Bengals, it is nowhere close to a winning team.
It's an entirely different team.
It is
Cincinnati.
a bad football team.
Yes.
And so he is definitely the most valuable player along with the best player, I think.
I would 100% agree with that. He led that team single-handedly, him and Jamar Chase.
Yep.
And there's no arguments for that. And he did it with no help. There's not many other quarterbacks that you could be able to throw into that situation at such a young age in the NFL. Yes, he was older when he came into the NFL compared to other quarterbacks.
But as a second-year guy.
Second-year guy, just 2 years of experience in the league, and bam, he's able to lead them to a Super Bowl like that. Insane. Joe Burrow, MVP.
All right, Offensive Player of the Year. Now, we normally try to give these to guys that aren't quarterbacks just because usually the MVP is a quarterback. But we're going to give it to Lamar here just because of what other things he does, right? We had this conversation. You're like, yeah, but he does so much. And I'm like, that's a great point. So not only is he a thrower and a distributor of the football, but he can run with the football. And he is the heart and soul of that team. So I think an Offensive Player of the Year here seems fitting. I think it'd be crazy to not have him on this list somewhere.
Yeah.
And so he fits in at Offensive Player of the Year if he's not going to be MVP.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he does, like, his rushing ability makes you think of him almost as, like, a cross between a quarterback and some other position of football we've never seen. Like, yes, it's running back, but it's, like, different. There's something about him, about his game that we've never seen before in the league.
He's the new age Slash. So Slash was Cordell Stewart, a Steeler quarterback in the 90s, early 2000s, and they called him Slash because he played quarterback / he would play some wide receiver, which is crazy. And so he's like the new age Slash.
Right, he does so much for that Ravens offense.
All right, Defensive Player of the Year, you got to go T.J. Watt here. I don't really think it's super debatable.
No.
I mean, go through Myles Garrett's the only guy that's close, and I've had that debate 30 times on this very show. Maybe I'll have it again soon to kind of remind you guys before the NFL season, but it's not close between him and Myles Garrett. T.J. Watt is 100% the best player on the defensive side of the football, and you might be able to argue in the entire division, regardless of position. T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, no arguments there. I mean, the way he's able to get after quarterbacks, stop the run, drop back and cover a tight end even. The dude is so athletic. He fits in so many different spots, and he won Defensive Player of the Year last season, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't expect anything less from him. He's only going to get better. He's still young. He's still getting stronger, and he's improving his game. He's getting smarter and just improving his football IQ at that level. T.J. Watt, D-boy.
I think he's just getting to his prime. I think last year was maybe the first year of his prime, and I think he's got another 5 years of it at least.
Oh, yeah, hopefully like 5 to 6, even more, hopefully. I mean, he's a wrecking ball on defense.
It is a physical position, so I think 5 would be, I'll take 5. Anyway, breakout. Let's go with wide receiver Rashad Bateman. So him and Lamar started to click a little bit when Lamar went down. I think Bateman went down with an injury, so I think their first healthy season together is going to be good. Bateman's a pretty skilled receiver. Got a little bit of speed. He'll go over the middle. He's not super small. Like he's got a little bit of oomph to him. Right, he'll go over the middle. He'll take a hit. I liked him coming out of Minnesota. I like him here, and I think he breaks out. 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, right, which is going to be up from last year. So I think that's a reasonable prediction for Rashad Bateman.
No, yeah, for sure. I hope to see him break out. I think on that roster and that offense he's set up to.
They got rid of Hollywood Brown, so he's now the number 1 target outside of Mark Andrews. So,
exactly. They've cleared some space. It's his time. He's got to step up now. But Rashad Bateman makes total sense there.
Yeah, and I think also to fulfill our prediction of the Ravens being number 1, they're going to need a big-time target on the outside, so it's only fitting that we make that Rashad Bateman. Coach of the Year, let's go with Mike Tomlin. I think you could argue me into John Harbaugh for leading them to first place, but I think the Steelers, I don't think the quarterbacks are going to be bad, but I really, really don't think they're going to be good. And so just getting to above 500 with those quarterbacks, I think is going to be, excuse me, is going to be so impressive from Mike Tomlin that I think you're going to have to honorary give him Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and we've never seen Tomlin have a losing season either, which is impressive in itself. His resume adds a little bit of effect to this list as well, I feel like. Just knowing that he's going to be able to take a less talented team, a less talented position group of quarterbacks compared to the rest of the division, compared to the league even.
And give him a shot at the playoffs.
Give him a shot to make a wild card appearance and maybe somehow catch a run. I mean, who knows? Maybe Kenny Pickett will hit. Maybe Mitch Trubisky will hit. We don't know. It's a huge question mark, but I feel like Mike Tomlin is going to be very, very competent and very helpful in steering the ship in the right direction.
I agree, and let's get an honorary assistant coach of the year. I think Brian Flores, being a linebackers coach, is going to be insane for the Steelers. That's going to be a great pickup for them. So to review, MVP Joe Burrow, Offensive Player of the Year Lamar Jackson, Defensive Player of the Year is T.J. Watt. We have Rashad Bateman breaking out in his second year in the NFL, and Coach of the Year, maybe a little biased, but from our hometown, Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh guy from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are our superlatives for the 2022 predictions for the NFC North.
Yeah, and that's all we have for you guys today. We just have the predictions. Life gets crazy here in the summer. Got to take trips. You got stuff going on. So this week we'll have the division predictions for AFC North like we just had, and then next week I think we get into the NFC South, if I'm not mistaken. So
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, come back next week. We will have more teams to predict. We are getting closer to the NFL season, so things are feeling good around here. Not going to want to miss what we have coming for this fall, so make sure you drop a subscribe, follow, turn on the post notifications so you're not missing anything from the show. We got so much coming for you guys, and you're going to love it. This was The Issue.